this is Nick from 88 Espresso Premium Blend. Please enjoy this video series on how to become a better barista at home. Hi, this is Nick from 88 Espresso Premium Blend. Welcome back. Today we're going to basically show you how to grind coffee in your grinder, click that coffee into your basket, tamp that down, put it into your coffee machine and do an extraction into a cup. So basically first what we do is grind off a little bit of coffee. That's obviously going to be loud. Actually stop for a second. We're never going to get a perfect dose when using a grinder like this. So don't expect that when you click out a couple of times that you're going to get the right measured amount. Because you're home baristas and this isn't, it's not something that you need to be perfect at from a perspective of not being in a cafe working. You can work out your own levels and your own measurements with regards to that. So really this is just about testing the basket. There's a line inside this basket in here. So when we grind off coffee and we click it over and it lands into the basket, it needs to be heaped, right? Because when it's airy and fluffy. So we've ground it, a little bit of air's got in there, we've chopped up the bean. So it's a little bit airy and fluffy. So what we're doing is we're filling it probably a little bit just over the top of there, because we're going to tamp down like sort of 10 pounds of pressure is known to be what's quite a good tamping pressure. And that's probably just a matter of just pushing a little bit and twisting. So I know that sounds weird. I'll show you in a minute how that works. But we want the fluffiness to come down and be flat and roughly be in line with this line in this basket here. So you can be a little bit under, you can be on or above. And then that will suit your extraction. Don't be scared to go a little bit above. Coffee machines can handle it. Maybe the smaller, really cheap ones can't because the pressure's not right. So you would probably be a little bit coarser, and then it'd just be a matter of adjusting your height to get the extraction that you want. So I'll just grind some coffee off for a second. So we'll just give it a click a couple of times. You'll see that it starts to get in there. It's quite light, airy and fluffy. That's obviously nowhere near where we need it to be. Right, so we'll go again. So then we're starting to get where we want to be. Don't be scared to knock it about. What we really want to do is get it all balanced. We don't want it loppy on one side. So we get from there, hit the tamper, make sure it's clean. Clean it off. And we want an arm that's quite straight. We want to go down and just twist and press. Clean off the edges, because what will happen is if you've got a little bit of residue of grind on here or through here, when you put that up and you try and seal that into the head of the coffee machine, you'll create a weakness. You'll create a breaking point for the pressure that comes through, because the pressure is quite high. It has to be high to be able to extract the oil out of the coffee grind. The other very important part is to make sure that when you tamp, that you tamp level. So we need to be level inside this basket here, because if we're on an angle and the water hits, just imagine water hitting on a hill and running down. It's going to go to the weakest point, which means it is going to go through all the way, but it's going to go through more on the half that's coming down on an angle than the other side. So your extraction will probably become quite acidic or quite bitter and burnt tasting, because you've extracted too much on one side and you haven't had it come through even all the way through the extraction. So once we get it flat, give it a clean, we then need to just pour off a little bit of water off the head just to clean anything that might be there, a little bit of the last grind, any bits and pieces. We then need to get our cup ready, because what we want to do is we want to put the handle in, we want to turn the handle, push the button, cup straight away. We don't want the heat sitting on this freshly ground coffee and burning it before the water starts to come through. Because what happens is the moment you touch it, water touches it, it plumes, what they call plumes, like pools on top, and then pushes through. So that just gets the coffee ready to then be extracted without too much shock, I suppose, from the heat. So up, want to be underneath, on, and a cup. You've got a little bit of time between when it drops and when it doesn't, so don't be scared about that. You don't have to go, ugh, but you can put it under and now it's ready to go.